Okay, no nonsense today. No double takes, no messing around. I gotta get this done. This is not what I want to do today, but the farm has other plans for me. See all this grass behind me? It's grounding out the electric fence that I've got. So about every 3 seconds the charger sends out a pulse. I don't know if you can hear it, but somewhere over in here I can hear it tapping. So basically these weeds are hitting the electric fence and grounding it out. So not only are the weeds high, but a few nights ago I come out one morning and over the course of the night somebody must have stepped on this and just ripped it right out of the pole. So I've got this to replace as well, but there's no sense in trying to fix this unless I get all the weeds down. So over the last 2 weeks I've been letting out the horses here and there so they can keep all the grass down on the property, and they've been doing a really good job, but they don't touch this stuff over here by the fence, so I got to take care of it myself. Okay, this is not the last time I'll be breaking out the weed eater, so bare essentials are done. Time to do some repairs, but real quick I'm going to give you guys a quick overview. So really what's going on here, this is the solar charger here. This thing's great, I love it. This is the first thing that I've used that I finally won the battle with the horses on. So from the unit I got a hot and I got a ground. So my hot comes down through the conduit and attaches right here to this piece. This is what electrifies everything. So from here, it daisy chains up and gets each one of these strands. Okay, so when I first did this, I thought that's all I needed to do. I was mistaken. It doesn't give enough current. I mean, there's a little bit of a shock if you touch it. If the ground's really wet, there's a little bit of a shock if you touch it, but there's not enough. So what I ended up having to do was I added the poly rope, and the poly rope is connected to the ground. The way that works is I've got the ground here, feeds down through the conduit, comes up here into the ground rod, over and up to the poly rope. And basically what happens is horses will touch the poly tape and they'll also touch the poly rope, and that's when they'll get the shock. They have to touch both to really get the full zap. So you'll notice that there's only 2 strands of the rope. When I did this to begin with, I ran out of time and money, and I just was like, what really needs to happen? You know, this is where the horses are gonna be touching the top one. Legs will be touching this one. I didn't really feel like it was necessary to hit the first one and the third one, so I just bypassed that because I was being cheap, but it's done its job, and I really have no complaints about anything that I've done here, other than every once in a while I need to make some repairs and keep the weeds down. Okay, so the unit basically this is like the starting point, and then what I have here, this piece here comes out, goes into the conduit, and then I run it over to the other leg here. Okay, so over here, this is where it comes out, and this was attached to that piece there, and it just continued the flow here, and it attached here, and then daisy chained up to this one, up to this guy, and then to this guy. There is its own ground rod over here on this leg because I have to attach a ground rod for each section. So that section over there has got its own ground rod to keep that going. Then over here it's got its own ground rod. Then way down yonder there's a gate down there in the middle of the road, and I have one more leg on the other side of the gate with its own ground rod as well. So I ended up using red wire here just because that's what I had at the time. Okay, so this wire comes out of the conduit and it attached to this guy. It attached on the bottom. And then I had this black wire right here, had attached to the top of it, okay? Had attached to the top of it, and then it kept the continuation going. I'm gonna bypass this today because I don't have this piece to replace it, and in all honesty there's some poles here that I want to replace, so this is not the last time I'm going to be repairing this fence. But just to get through the day, what I'm going to do is just leave this strand off, and I'm just going to put this right there, and then that should get me going again. Okay, repairs are all done. So here's the continuation wire. Comes up and attaches to the bottom part of this metal clamp. Then the top part daisy chains up to here and continues the flow to there. And then here's the ground on the red going all the way down to the ground rod. So I have this voltage tester, and then there's, I'm sure I can barely see it without the camera, but basically put it up here. You can hear the pulse every couple seconds, but I can barely see the light. It's coming in at 5,000 volts, so I know that we're up and running again. Okay, so I'm down here where the gate is. Now, just for the record, every one of these are hot. So all I need to do to continue this beyond the gate is to get this metal clamp here and just bring it over to the other side of this gate. I just have to attach it to one of those strands, bring it over here, and then basically the same thing. It comes out here, attaches to the bottom, and then now we're on the red wire, and then it daisy chains up to here. Same thing to this one, same thing to that one, and then we've got the ground on a black wire, daisy chain to that one, and going down to the ground rod. There's only one for sure way to know that this is working, and that's to go to the last leg and see how it feels. All right, well, if this works up here, then it works all the way. Mama didn't raise no cowboy. She raised herself an idiot. Ah! It works. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't touch electric fences.